morning, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Hope all of you have had an awesome Christmas and New Year's break. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all of you guys. Hope you're all doing good. Today is January 2nd at the time of filming this video. In our last video, we touched on some tips and tricks for people who are maybe looking to get into the roofing industry. I will leave a link down to that video somewhere on the screen. But in this video, we'll be covering for people who have been in the trade for a while and maybe you're looking at starting your own roofing business. So I have personally ran my own business for 3 to 4 years now. And it's a fairly short period of time, but I've learned a ton of information in that amount of time. I've met with many customers. We've done lots of roof replacements, and I think I have some information that'll be valuable to some of you people who are maybe just starting. Maybe you've been in the trade or you ran your own business for a little while now. Hopefully some of these tricks will help everybody. So I've broken this down into 3 main categories, and the first one being, why would you want to start your own roofing business? So when starting any business, one of the hardest parts that can happen is you're going to be doing 3 times as much work, and you might be even getting a smaller paycheck than what you were at your standard 9 to 5. There's not always consistent income. There's a lot of difficulties that come with running your own business, especially when you start looking at hiring employees, all the tax information, payroll, insurance. There's so many liabilities that can come, and so much stress and pressure that can come as a business owner. So these are things to prepare yourself for if it's something you're interested in. It's one thing to just be doing some side jobs here and there with a good friend of yours. You maybe pay him under the table, whatever it is. But it's an entirely different world when you start hiring on employees, and it's at times can be a very stressful and hardship time for you, making sure them and their families are all taken care of, and making sure your household, and making a little bit of profit as well. So it can be a very stressful, taxing thing, and it's something you always have to consider if it's something you're looking at making a full business, making that big leap into starting your own thing. One of the biggest and most rewarding things for me of being in the roofing trade, or really any trade that you're in, is you have the opportunity and the privilege to give back to your community and help people who are maybe a little bit less fortunate. So no matter what trade you're in, you have a type of skill set that can help someone. So there's a lot of families out there who can't afford even their month-to-month house payments, let alone a full roof replacement. One thing we attempted to roll out last year was a couple free roofs. So we weren't able to cover the full cost of the whole roof package, but what we were able to do is cover the workmanship side of it. So for people, we have houses in our area, I'm sure all of you do as well, that are in really bad shape, but they've been that way for years. They almost guarantee leak, but the homeowner just can't afford to get it replaced. So that's what this package would be for. It'd be for the people who are less fortunate, less financially fortunate, who can't afford these things. They can't afford a full roof replacement, but maybe they can afford the material side of things. So we would come in, they would pay for the material, we'd go with our budget line of products, and then we would go in, they would get our full warranty package, and we would do the work 100% free of charge. So that's something we're going to be trying to implement more in 2025. We want to do at least a couple houses. Hopefully we'll have the opportunity to do that. But yeah, anybody who works in the trades, you have a huge opportunity there to give back to your customers, or to give back to your community and help people who are in need. One big thing for us, if you're going to tackle something like that, is looking at your morals for the standpoint. Are you just doing it for the publicity? Are you just doing it for maybe potential income of customers who see you doing a free job? They're like, ooh, I really want to work with that person. They're really nice, whatever. But I think people should always do that because they want to do it. They want to help people. My fiance and I, we're a Christian. It sits well with our morals. We genuinely just want to try and help other people. And that's the difference between someone who's doing maybe a roof giveaway to hopefully sell 50 more roofs, right? You can do that, but it just doesn't sit as well in yourself and with other customers if that's kind of your approach. So doing it because you want to do it and not just because you're trying to make more money, I think is always the way that you should look at it. So as we're on the topic of money, one of the biggest things I think for any business owner is not just being in the business solely for a paycheck. You're going to have a lot of days, especially when you first start out. You don't have any Google reviews. You don't have any client referrals, any good client rapport, anything like that. So you're not going to be getting phone calls. While all these other businesses are getting phone calls all day long, you're going to be stuck with an empty inbox and an empty voicemail. So you have to be able to live with that. So keeping your standard 9 to 5 and working on these things before you go full time is super important. as you're working, you'll work all day long on a roof. Hopefully you're going to have to be there with the team, most likely right off the bat. So working all day long on these roofs, then coming home and doing all the behind the scenes stuff yourself until you can afford to outsource some of these things. But all those things take time. And for when you first start out, you're going to be having to handle all the emails, all the calls. You're going to be handling all the website design, logo design, all your marketing, all of your payroll, everything you're going to have to do yourself. So as your employees just work from maybe 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the roof, whatever it is, they might actually be making more than you are at the end of the day, especially if you're comparing, how many hours you're working and compared to how much you're taking home. It's probably not going to be comparable to what your employees are getting. So the amount of hours you're going to have to put into this thing are going to far outweigh the amount of money that you're probably bringing in right out the gate. So you have to keep these things in mind when you're first starting out. And I always would recommend, keep that 9 to 5 steady income that you have, and then slowly start implementing things, into your dream business, right? So work on a logo, learn how to operate, the software to build it, build your own logo, learn how WordPress works, make your own website, learn how YouTube works, make your own YouTube channel. Learn Facebook ads, start your own Facebook campaigns, things like that. Setting up all your Google business pages, learn all of that stuff while you still have a steady job. Build that foundation up for your company and give it that brand identity that you truly want. Make sure all those things are set up before you just kind of hop into something like that. That would be my way of doing it if I was to restart now. And make sure you actually enjoy it, because all those long hours that you're going to spend working outside of getting paid, you have to do that, like I said, without getting paid. So you have to make sure that it's something that you enjoy, that you're proud of, and it's something that you really, really want. Earning a lot of money in the business is something that's going to come later on down the road. Once you put in X amount of work into improving your service, workmanship, once you build good customer rapport, have those relationships set up, then you might start getting some referrals coming in and might start to actually look at a busy roofing season. So, but all those things take time. So making sure you enjoy the work itself, all the behind the scenes stuff, while you're not getting paid is super important. Otherwise, you're going to look at burnout and you might quit, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. So now you look at some of the tips that I've learned, especially in the last year or two, for starting your own business. So the biggest things are improving your service, improving your workmanship, and improving the quality of materials that you're providing for your customers. So one of the biggest things is the service for the customers. So one thing you can do if you're just starting out is get in contact with a lot of the companies in your area. Call them up, see how fast they pick up the phone, see if they even pick up the phone at all, see what their voicemails are like, see how fast it is to schedule them for an inspection, see how long it would take to have the roof completed, and then maybe they do come out for an inspection. How do they act when they're there? Are they friendly? Are they kind of standoffish? Do they bring everything they need? Do they just give you a sheet of paper that says, here, this is the price, and then they're out the door? See what your experience is like with some of these bigger companies and learn from it, take away from it, and see what things you could use and improve on. And even something as simple as a phone call, being able to pick up the phone when someone's calling, not sending them to voicemail, being able to schedule an inspection maybe outside of normal work hours, making time for these customers so they feel heard, feel taken care of, can go a long ways with securing a job. Especially when we get a call, we go in for an inspection, we always introduce ourselves, have a bit of friendly chat, and then we get right into what are the core issues that you're experiencing. We always make sure we have everything with us. We always bring extra caulking, of course, ladders, everything. When we're doing the inspection, we look for any damages. We always take photos of all the damage so the customer has evidence for their side of things. And then we always bring caulking with us if there's something we can just patch up until they're ready to go for a replacement or repair. These kind of things can go a long way with the customer, with building trust, feeling like it builds the relationship and will help secure that job for you in the future. So always trying to improve your service. A lot of time I've watched countless YouTube videos on all different parts of the business, how people go door to door knocking, how they treat their customers. Again, give give a local company a call and see how they interact with you and see how you can improve it. Always try to improve what the competition's doing. You know, take something that they have maybe, and if you see holes in what they're doing, try to improve on that. There's always going to be gaps in every market. You have to find them, make them better, and take advantage of it while you can. You know, you could take YouTube for an example. Look at YouTube vloggers and see how many you can find that are in the roofing industry. There's not a lot, if any. So we saw a little hole there, a little gap, and we took advantage of it. This is something in our niche, something we specialize in, and it just so happens that no one else is making vlog content for roofing. There's lots of informational videos like this style of video, but apart from daily vlogs and seeing the actual behind the scenes of the work, there was a gap there. So we took advantage of that, and a lot of you guys have seemed to enjoy those styles of videos, which we really appreciate. But there's always going to be holes in everybody's game, even in ours, and you can take advantage of that by finding them, improving on them, and you might be doing something different, and a customer might see like, oh, that's cool, I like that, I want to work with you guys. You know, so there's always going to be things you can improve on, and don't be afraid to take little tidbits from your competition and seeing how you can do it better and better serve your customer. So another huge thing for you is going to be looking at installing and providing the best quality products for each customer. So this is going to change depending on the customer's needs and budget for the house. So someone who is maybe just looking to sell their house, they want to just go with a cheaper package and they want to just get it done, make sure the next homeowner's all set, good to go, and still save a couple bucks. That's all fine. But you also have homeowners who maybe just moved into their forever home. They want to be there for another 20, 30, 40 years maybe. And those people you would look at offering like a mid to high tier package. So you want to have variety in what you're offering your customers. You want to make sure that they feel like they have a bit of a choice and that they understand what they're buying. So this is crucial, I think. A lot of contractors will go out there, they'll do an inspection, they'll go up there, they'll maybe take some photos, and then they'll just hand you a sheet of paper that says, this is the price, this is what you're getting, that's it. But I think the ability to give your customers a little bit of a choice and truly have a, sit down with them and explain the process of the work and explain what these materials are, why we pick these ones, why we stand behind them, the warranties that come with these products, and making sure that they feel that they understand what is happening, right? These people spend a ton of money and they want to make sure, they should understand what they're buying. It's one of the biggest investments you can make to your home, and it's what protects everything else inside of your house. So what we like to do is some manufacturers, shingle manufacturers, they call it the good, better, and best system. We take that concept and we apply it through all of our materials. So when we go in for an initial inspection, we sit down with the customer and then we explain the whole process of everything, and then we get into picking the materials. So 3 is an easy number for customers to kind of pick between. So you pick, we have 2 different shingle lines, but they get 3 choices between shingles within each manufacturer. So we offer Certainteed and we offer Malarkey. So for Certainteed, for example, we have the Landmark, Landmark Pro, and then we have the Climate Flex, which we might swap out in the future. We'll see. Our second manufacturer that we use is Malarkey shingles. So what we do is we offer the three shingles. So people can pick between the Landmark, Landmark Pro, or Climate Flex. Let's say a lot of people will tend to go with like the middle option instead of going with the very least expensive or the highest. They'll fall in the middle. So let's say they go with like a Landmark Pro, and then we go into our underlayments. So lately we've been using the Century roof NATO underlayments. So they have like their anchor deck, then they have their breathable, they have a lap lock. So let's say they want to invest in a higher, like their mid-tier shingles, the Landmark Pro, and then they would just want to go with like a real basic underlayment. Well, they have that option. Depending on what best fits their needs and their budgets, they can kind of customize it. And it doesn't make the customer feel so locked in and just kind of blindly trusting the contractor. This is the products we offer, this is why we offer them, and here you have a little selection between them depending on what you want to get out of your roof. Because I've heard stories of contractors who just offered one thing. They said, this is what we do, take it or leave it. They ended up, the customer ended up buying into it, they bought it, And then later on down the road, they saw that same company installing a higher end product for a different house, and they were upset because they weren't offered that. They didn't even know it was an option, and if it was an option, they would have went with it because it's a nicer product. So this is something that's very important, I think, is to make sure your customers feel like they have a little bit of option, and offering that really high-end product for the people who want it, and just making sure that they know it's available and this is what it costs, and all of that, and just kind of letting them hand build their quote. For us, so far, has been very effective and very well received from the customers that we've provided this for in the last year or so. So I have a little story for you guys. This was a couple years ago, I used to train jiu-jitsu. And one thing my coach always told me was always try to soak up information like a sponge. So always try to, instead of just hopping right into it and trying to get the thing done, always try to just learn as much as you can from anybody who's willing to talk to you, from people you're watching. Try to soak up as much information because things are so technical. Try to soak up as much information as you can and learn that way. So that's something that can be applied to any kind of business that you're operating in as well. So always staying open-minded, always, don't be afraid to be wrong, right? Just because you're the boss, you might have employees who have a suggestion for something. Always be willing to listen to these people that you're hiring. And I always suggest to look for people who are better than you, or maybe they've been in the trade longer than you. If you're someone who's younger, like myself, I'm still in my 20s, I go through this sometimes with employees where, because I'm so young, other people feel like because they've been in the trade longer than me, they know more than me. I spend a lot of my free time researching different installation techniques, business techniques, whatever it is, especially when it comes to the workmanship side of things, seeing how other people do it. But keep an open mind and be willing to learn from people who might have suggestions for you. You never know when or where it might come from, but you might have a little tip here and there that someone just suggests or has, and you might learn something new and might end up doing the job better than you were doing before. So keeping an open mind, being willing to learn, and not being so stubborn just because you're the boss can get you a long ways as being a business owner. So another thing that can be helpful for you is finding a good mentor or a teacher for you that can kind of help guide you along in your path of business. So for me, I had my dad when I was younger, and he taught me all the basics of installation techniques, how I always saw how he treated customers, employees, everything like that. He taught me how he did inspections, and a lot of that I still use today. But I'm not afraid to always like I touched on earlier, keeping an open mind and learning other people's techniques on how they do it. Some of you might not be able to afford, maybe you don't have anyone else who's in the field, maybe you don't like your boss, you can't afford a mentor outside of it, but there's tons of people on YouTube. Someone who comes to mind is a channel called Veteran Construction. He has a great YouTube channel and has a great practice in business for anyone who would be looking for someone to kind of look up to and help guide them. But there's lots of YouTube channels out there in the roofing world. So if you're looking for someone to just kind of take advice from, help guide you along the way, and feel like you're not alone in the process, there can be lots of people out there to kind of look up to and strive to be better. So my last point for this video will be the marketing side of your business. So as you're just getting started, you're not going to have any kind of client referrals, maybe some friends of friends who want to just give you a shot, help you out. But your main source of finding clients is probably going to be through either some kind of advertisement, right? Through Facebook ads, through Google ads, maybe YouTube, things like that. I brought a couple books with me that I love for all of you guys to read, to check out if you're looking at starting your entrepreneurship journey. First one is the book Crushing It by Gary. I always mess up his last name, so I'm not even going to try it. But this book's awesome for anybody who's maybe looking to get into the social media side of things. You want to look at how to expand your business. This book's awesome. It has some very valuable information for you. A good friend of mine recommended this book to me years ago, and this is Facebook Advertising 4th edition. So I always suggest giving this book a read as well if you're just starting out and you want to learn kind of the basics, or actually not even the basics. This is a textbook for Facebook advertisement. So these things are always being updated. New editions are being put out. This is the 4th edition. Maybe there's a 5th by now. But if you're someone who's just starting out, Facebook ads are your best friend, and you want to get your name out there. Start building up that portfolio so future customers have something to see. And especially in your first few jobs, always push as hard as you can to make sure that those customers are super well taken care of and that they wouldn't even think about referring anyone else. Those clients, especially right out the gate, are super important to make sure everything goes well, and that those people are just very well taken care of, and they're going to be kind of the basic building blocks of you getting future clients. You should always strive to make referrals your number one way of getting your name out there. You want people to talk about you, and you want them to say good things about you. But referrals are very easy to close. It's a warm lead coming in. They already have good news. I mean, the majority of our referrals are basically people who are already committed to working with us. So long as the numbers are fairly reasonable, they're already on board. So referrals are 100% the way to go. I would say our customer rate, probably about 80% of them are from referrals. So shooting for that, excellent customer service, making sure every customer feels very well taken care of, they feel heard, and making sure the workmanship quality is top notch, using great products, then those referrals should continue to come in, and that will most likely be where the large amount of your work is coming from. All right, so I've got one last little story before I finish off this video, and this is about a small local siding company that's local to our area. And these guys don't do any kind of social media work. They don't do any kind of advertisement. I don't even think they have a website. And these guys are booked up for years. They do new housing, they do restoration, everything you can think of in the siding world they do, and they do it extremely well, which is why they're so busy. So they provide such a good customer, people trust them so much, they do such good workmanship. They are booked up years in advance without even having to without having to run any kind of advertisement or anything. And I think that's what everybody should strive for. That's certainly what we strive for. Provide an experience for your customers that is so good, provide the best service, best quality workmanship, and use the best products that you possibly can to build up that customer rapport. Make sure that customers, they wouldn't even think about referring another company because their experience was so good. That's what we always strive for. Always try to do the right thing, treat your customers well, and always try to continue learning. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hope all of you guys have had a safe and happy holiday season. Hope you're all doing well. And with that being said, we will see you guys in the next one.